Welcome back to Strange Stories with the Seeker and the Skeptic. Today we have with us my cousin Marc Grindle. Marc is a psychic medium, shamanic reiki practitioner, and the owner of Through the Bear's Eyes. Welcome to the show, Marc. We're really glad to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Brittany. Thank you, Jonathan.
Absolutely. So you are definitely a seeker. Um, and you said that you were a skeptic until about 18 years old. In what ways were you kind of a skeptic back then?
Well, it was actually about 18 years ago. When I was young, I believed in ghosts and UFOs and things. As I got older, I think I became a lot more skeptical of things. And
Okay.
it wasn't until 2004 when I had my first numerology reading that took me by surprise by how accurate it was. And from that point on, I just started getting more readings and getting more interested in spirituality and studying. And I'm here today. I'm a believer today.
Yeah,
Fully.
for sure. I don't know much about numerology, but I had a reading done maybe 2 years ago, and it was one of the craziest experiences of my life. Like she was explaining me to myself, and I was like in words that I just like never had, but like as soon as she said it, it really resonated. So it's super
Mhm.
interesting.
It is really. It kind of opened my eyes up. About 90% of it was accurate for me.
Yeah.
Um, and the more I looked into it, and I had different readings. They have a lot of different readings online that you can get for free. So I did a bunch of different readings, and they more or less told the same story, and they more or less kind of tell you what's in store for your future a little bit. And it's very interesting to how the universe works like that with numbers.
It is really interesting. It is, like I said, not something I know a ton about, but it's just fascinating, to learn about it and hear people talk about it.
It's definitely interesting if you're getting the same or similar responses from different sources. That always kind of, for me, makes me more likely to think there's something to a thing.
Affirms it.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
So you now do your own psychic readings. How did you start opening up to those psychic abilities?
Um, the psychic that I used to go to, Belle Salisbury, who was also my teacher, during one of the readings or two of the readings way back when, she said she mentioned that I had different abilities and stuff, that I should look into it further. And of course, I kind of brushed them aside back then. And during one of the readings, she said, "Well, I could see you sitting in my chair someday." And I just remember laughing about it. I really wasn't that serious about it, and I decided when the pandemic hit to go back to take psychic development and a mediumship course after that. And she offered that again the following year. And if you took it once and paid for it, you could take it again for free. So I sat in for the second year on it and really developed more and discovered that that was my path. So
Hmm.
I'm on my journey on that direction.
Awesome. How do you typically like receive messages?
Well, I'm really good at reading photos. I can kind of get inside a person's feelings. I think it is a result of a lot of experience I've had, personal experience. Growing up. I can feel the feelings that they have, and I can kind of um, I kind of feel back into their past, and kind of give them an idea what they've done and where they've been. And that's my probably my strongest gift is that.
That's really interesting. Is it similar like when you're face to face with a person, or is it really you're getting that information mostly from a picture?
I can pick up a lot from a picture. I don't like staring at people,
Yeah.
and I don't like being stared at. So it's kind of hard person to person to get as much information like that. But if I'm starting to photograph, it just seems to come to me. The feelings that come to me, and I look through their eyes, and I can just I guess I can see their soul.
Hmm.
It's clear sentient.
Hmm.
That's my strongest ability that I have.
It's very interesting. Everybody's gifts show up in different ways, and
I
have
agree.
different methods for reading. And, I think it's really cool that yours is, through a picture.
And we all have these abilities too. A lot of people don't realize that, but we're all born with these capabilities. It's just a matter of if you want to tap into it or look into it further, and develop, because you have to really practice the same as you would like a musical instrument.
Hmm.
The more you practice, the better you're going to get at it.
Absolutely.
More it'll come to you.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Yeah, it's, like anything, it takes practice, and you're strengthening that psychic muscle for yourself by kind of
Yes,
opening yourself up, and my belief system anyways is you're communicating to the universe that you want to be open, and so I think more things will come through if you have that willingness for it.
definitely.
Yeah. You said that you had an experience after your mom passed. What was that experience?
Um, I asked my mom for a sign. This is back in 2011, and I wasn't. I was pretty emotional about it, as you can imagine. And I remember it was on a Sunday, and she passed away. I believe it was on a Tuesday or Wednesday. And I was home by myself in the basement, working on some things, and I started hearing birds. And I really didn't pay attention at first, but then they kept getting louder and louder and louder. And this was in February, and it got so loud that I came upstairs. I opened the door up, and we have a great big blue spruce pine in our side yard, and this tree was full of hundreds and hundreds of birds. I'd never seen anything like it before, and nothing like it since. And as soon as I got there and opened the door up and acknowledged it, and I just kind of said, "Hi, Mom," because my mom had a saying when I was young, when she used to bust me and catch me doing wrong. She would say, "I would say, how'd you find that out?" And her favorite expression was, "A little birdie told me."
Uh-huh.
And of course, she worked for the phone company for years, so she was a talker. And that was her way of coming through and showing me the sign that she was okay.
Hmm.
It was a pretty amazing thing to see, especially in February. Just the
Right.
tree full of birds.
I mean, for me, hearing that story, there's so many things that just stand out of the time of year, February. That's not in New York. You're
Yeah,
not
and
likely to
then
see.
northeastern United States in February, that's way too cold for birds for sure.
Right. And the fact that you're saying like it's never happened before or since, to me is like, okay, there's something there. That is a sign, how, I mean, that's how I
Yeah.
explain it, but I don't know if the skeptic has any other explanations.
I don't have explanations for anything. I just always want more information. But I mean, I definitely, don't have an explanation for. I spent about a week up in New York last winter, and that I don't know how you guys do it. It is way 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 cold, so that is wild to me for sure.
It's a different lifestyle for sure.
It is. I keep joking like you wouldn't know I was from New York because I'm always I'm complaining about the cold here in Virginia. I'm like I'm not one of those people who moves and is like, "Oh, I can handle the cold." I'm like, "No, I can't." I never could. So another really fascinating thing that you shared with us was something started happening to you every night. I think it was back in 2017. So tell us about that whole
Um,
ongoing experience.
I started feeling things in my bed, and I started feeling things touching my head. Um, and at first, I just kind of ignored it, I guess, and it just kept intensifying. And I realized that I was awake when it was happening, and it wasn't like uh, um, I sleep in a water bed, so I could feel every little ripple. You could throw a pair of socks on the bed, and I'll know. I'll wake up. It's that
Hmm.
sensitive. And I started feeling things on the bed and around the bed, and I got a camera, and I put the video camera up inside my bedroom one night, and I had a video I called Blizzard of Orbs, which I have on my YouTube channel. And there was hundreds of orbs in my bedroom, just flying around and flying down in and out of my bed. Um, it scared the crap out of me for a few days. I couldn't I couldn't go back up to the bed for a few days.
Hmm.
And then I even noticed that even when I was sleeping downstairs, I slept on a cot for a couple nights, and I still had things coming up around me and touching me during when I slept. And it goes on to this day. And I got the whole explanation on my website. I don't know if you got a chance to look at it,
Hmm.
but I kind of figured out, at least to me, I know what it is. It's all my dog spirits that are around me. And people might think I'm crazy when I say that, but I'm, I know, I feel them. I know. I heard dog chain jingles one night, the dog tags, and I felt a little whoop on the end of the bed. And I felt something crawling around, and that's how it kind of came to me.
Hmm.
Um, and I did develop a little experiment. I made a what I call an actuator pad out of a couple batteries and a flashlight bulb. And what it was is a piece of poster board, and I had three strips of thin aluminum taped onto it to serve as a contact point, and I had mesh screen underneath it. And I electronically made it so when they touched, the light would light up.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And I had it on my bed one night. The first night, I think the first night didn't work. The second night, I got clear evidence on there, and I put it up on my website too. That's on my YouTube channel as well.
Oh, that's really
Awesome.
interesting for sure. How long had you lived in that house before you started experiencing this?
We moved in back in, let's see, we've been here for 38 years this year. We moved in on Halloween of all times.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
And we were told the house was haunted when we moved in. Um,
Hmm.
one of the people that knew the former people that lived here asked us if we had any visitors yet. You know, they were, and back then I wasn't really aware of that kind of thing, so I wasn't really looking for it. Um, but as the years went on, there was some bizarre things that did happen in the house that I couldn't explain. I did hear footsteps over my head a few times, and when nobody else was in the house, and I saw a door close right before my eyes that was a very heavy door and doesn't close on its own,
Hmm.
and it closed just like somebody was closing it. So a lot of things have happened around the house before this happened.
Right. Now, was this around the same time that you were kind of opening up? No, I guess you said more towards the pandemic, like, so it was a little bit before you were opening up to your psychic gifts, or
Yeah, I think it was a wake up call for me. I think it was
okay.
Spirit's way of getting my
Mm,
attention and telling me, it's time. You've got something, you've got a soul mission here to accomplish, and you've got duties here. You got to help others. You got to teach others. So I think it was just like a little push in
hmm.
that direction. And when all these strange things start happening to me, of course, I was just fear took over for a lot of it, at first. Um, but after a while, I started to get some perspective on it and started to realize what it was.
Hmm.
So I'm it still occurs every night. In fact, I call my dogs up to my bed every night. They all and when I call them up, I can feel them coming up. So
Wow.
I have no doubts about it, that it's happening, and it's a very comforting thing. Uh, I believe your pets never leave your side. Uh, the love is never broken. They're just in a different dimension,
Hmm.
but they're still around you.
Yeah, I can totally see how that would be comforting. I mean, it's so hard to lose, a pet, they're your babies, and to
Yes.
know like that love is right there with you. I think that's beautiful.
Hmm.
Do you still experience like the other kind of like things like the footsteps and stuff like that? Is that still happening in your house?
No, not really as much. I think just because I'm so close with spirit now that
Hmm.
it's not really nothing's really a big deal anymore.
Mm.
Um, in that aspect, as far as discovering anything or feelings, I can occasionally see small orbs once in a while, um, coming and going around the
Hmm.
house. I can do that with my bare eyes at times, and I can sense energy sometimes in the room. But that's kind of like a daily thing now for me. It's just because of my connection.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. How do you make sense of ghosts, of spirits? You know, like I'm trying to find the right question to ask people about this, but it's like, how do you see it working? Like, you know, why are they still with us? Like, what is like kind of the nature of that reality? I don't know, but like, how do you
Um,
make sense of it?
I really think that they can see and they're still around us and they can see us and they can kind of guide us. Um, some of our relatives, I believe, are our guides,
Hmm.
part of our spirit team. Um, I just believe that they go. I believe there's a heaven of sorts that people go to, and that they can be there, and at the same time they can be in spirit with you. And I guess that's kind of the way I see it, because they can be anywhere. Once you're in spirit, you could be in more than one place, obviously.
Yeah, I
So
mean, that's interesting. Like, I mean, spirit is, you know, the belief system is like spirit is all around us. Spirit is us, right? So it's like, yeah, I mean, energy doesn't really know time or space. So,
but
so
we're all God. We're all part of one. We're all source. We all come
mhm,
from source energy. We carry the Christ consciousness within us, and I think at some point in our life it gets activated, and we start seeing life from a different perspective, from a more positive perspective, from a more place of love and not fear, which is the way it
mhm.
should be.
Can you talk a little bit about Christ consciousness? Because I don't, that's not something we've talked about on the podcast before.
Christ consciousness would be kind of acting like Christ would, um, loving everyone, regardless of who they are, what they are, um, and the belief in knowing that all of how do I want to word this? All the knowledge of the universe is within us and is at our fingertips and accessible. Um, I mean, I don't know really how else to explain Christ outside of that. I mean, Christ is everything pretty much.
Yeah. So to you, it's like this expanded level of consciousness where you're connecting in with Christ energy and kind of the essence of love and light. Okay.
Being what Jesus would do. I don't want to get into a religious thing because you know how that goes, but I firmly believe Jesus walked this earth. I don't fully believe everything that's in the Bible, but I believe Christ is still around us, and I believe in a lot of gods. I mean, I don't believe it's just in one religion. I believe that there's a lot of truth in all of them.
Hmm. There's a lot of
Well,
connected themes. Oh, go ahead.
I mean, the point that a lot of people miss is the people who wrote, whoever the people are who wrote the books of the Bible, and there's question about that, and this is not the time or place for that. Those people also believed in lots of gods. They felt that theirs was the path they wanted to go down, but they also believed in lots of different things, for sure. And that kind of, I think, gets lost in translation, literally and figuratively, through these types of things over the course of centuries.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Going back a second to talk about these experiences that you have whenever you encounter what you would term to be spirits one way or another. Do you generally feel like these are entities that are choosing to be seen? Do you think that they have a choice in the matter? Or do you think that they're there and we sometimes can perceive them whether they want to be or not? Or is there a want there, do you think?
Um, I think they make it known to me that they're there. As far as seeing them, um, I can't physically see them. I can feel them. This is kind of the same way that I describe my psychic abilities of clairsentient. Um, I feel the animals around me. I could tell my last dog passed in November. We had to put him down.
Mm.
He was 14 years old, and I could tell when he comes into bed because he was heavier than my other dogs, and I could tell his energy from the others just from the bond that we had. We were very, very close. He went through a lot. He got run over when he was 2.5 and recovered from it, and
Wow.
lived a good life after that. And so we really looked up to him because I believe animals teach us life lessons. I really think that our dogs and cats and whatnot are here to teach us ways of love. What better way of love? What better example of unconditional love than a dog? You
Mm-hmm.
know?
Oh, I love that. You know, it's not something I've ever thought about, other than just like loving my animals and, just, but yeah, they are our teachers as well.
Hmm. For
It's
sure.
beautiful. Okay, I think I want to go to the UFOs. You said you've seen some UFOs. Tell us
Yeah.
about that.
I've seen UFOs on 3 different occasions. Actually, four. 3 occasions with friends. They were all at a distance, so it was nothing like really, really up close.
Hmm.
The last one that I saw um, occurred about a block away from my house as I was walking my dog down the street. Over to my left, in between the houses, I could see a bright object. And, when I would walk in sync with in between the houses, I could see it. It was like kind of like moving in parallel with me. And when I got down to the corner, I stopped for a second. I looked over to the left and I saw it. It came out like over the street, but like I said, it was still up there pretty high. It wasn't really close or nothing. But it slowly came toward me and came toward me, and then just as it was over my head, it took off. It was just like Star Trek. It was just like Warp 9. It was like there, and all of a sudden, it was like boom. It went so fast I couldn't. I was just like, and I just kind of said to myself, "Did I just see what I thought I saw?" I did one of those second takes. Um, but that was the last time. That happened about maybe 5 years ago.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, that one was that definitive one. The others were kind of farther away and just who knows. But this one definitely stood out to me.
Hmm. Wow. What are your theories about UFOs? What's in UFOs? Like, do you have any theories?
Well, I think they're definitely extraterrestrial. Whether they come from a different dimension or different planets, they found some kind of way to time travel, I believe. Um, there's talk about portals and there's talk about black holes that are used. I think that there's way more advanced than we are, and that it could possibly come from our future. There's
Hmm.
there's really a lot of unanswered questions. I don't know if you followed it at all, but I think it was this year they were discussing it in Congress
Hmm.
about revealing, about coming out with a big reveal. And I think it's only a matter of a few years. I think they're kind of slowly breaking it to us um, because I don't think they want to scare people too much. People are very,
Yeah.
very firm in their beliefs in some ways, and that could really, really throw somebody to, if they came down here and I've seen a lot of videos of aliens or alleged aliens on TikTok and on Facebook and different venues and stuff, and I think there's something to it.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the government probably definitely knows more than they have ever told
Yeah,
us.
that too.
I get this sense too of like we're building towards something and it's like the slow trickle and it's like it's like more talked about in the media. People are kind of like you said, like warming up to the idea. It's like we have to start planting seeds so that they can like really
Mhm.
come out. That's what I think, but I don't know. We'll see if they
I agree.
actually do have a big reveal
Yeah,
at any point.
I'd like to see
Yeah,
it happen. I
me
mean, I
too.
really think that we all came from the stars, and who's to say when we're incarnated, um, previous lifetimes we could have came from different planets, lived on different planets, different lifetimes.
Different
Earth
dimensions. Yeah.
Earth is a hard school, and that's at least the way I understand it. It's a school where we're here to learn lessons. There's a lot of density here, a lot of duality, um, lacking in love. As far as a humanitarian thing, I think you have a lot of people that just have a love of money more than for a love of people.
Mm-hmm.
I think it kind of rules things.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I think the work that you do is so important. You're just trying to spread more love and light and consciousness and help educate people. And we need that. We need more people who are, you know, that's their mission and that's what they're trying to do. So thank you for being one of those people.
No, thank you. You too. You as well. You guys both are spreading more information with your show. You know, opening up people up to different ideas and different concepts. That they might not be open to otherwise.
Definitely what we're trying to do here, and just give people who don't have I don't know if platform is even the right word, but like they don't have an avenue for sharing their story and they might have had this experience and feel like I'm the only person. People are going to think I'm crazy if I talk about that. And I mean, I have had people recently say to me, I can't talk about this with other people because they're going to think I'm crazy. And I'm like, or you could just start a podcast and talk about it with everybody,
All the time.
all the time. And I wanted to say that when you were a few minutes ago, when you were saying like, not wanting to talk about religion, like on this in this platform, at least, like all those views are welcome and worthy of discussing because you do think about things in a way that other people might not, but it could help expand them and their understanding of themselves and the world. So I think having these conversations is really helpful for sure. I wanted to ask you a little bit more about shamanic Reiki. So I'm trained in Usui Holy Fire Reiki. I've dabbled just a little bit with shamanic practices. I've done a couple journeys and stuff like that, but I'm really interested in like what overall like shamanic Reiki is and like how you practice that.
Well, shamanic Reiki encompasses the belief that every object has a soul. Even a rock, a plant, a stick, um, doesn't have to be, it can be an inanimate object. It doesn't have to be alive. And that just combines with the basic principles of Reiki, as far as the belief in natural healing, and bringing the elements into the healing, how would I want to say it? Not procedure, into the healing practice. Um, the belief in the elements. For example, I call in the four directions anytime I'm going into sacred space, and I ask for protection, and I ask for healing throughout any readings that I do, to help transmute anything that might come up during a reading. And I just feel that I try to incorporate the shamanic way and the ways of Reiki into my practice that way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do
Really
any
interesting.
hands-on.
Okay.
Um, I just didn't want to. I actually was going down that path before I got into being a psychic,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the last day of our psychic mediumship class, and I was only doing so, and I had only taken it just to try to be able to read people better, and we had to read a surprise guest that came in that was actually a professional psychic. We got 10 minutes to read her, and when I gave her what came through for me, her mother came through for me, and she got very emotional for after what I told her and stuff, what I saw, and she told me, well, you should be doing this, and you've got a gift for this, and you should be doing psychic work, and I was telling her, well, no, I want to get into healing. But then my path kind of veered toward that way after that, and I was trying to do both, but it just the psychic thing seemed to come naturally more to me. The shamanic and the reiki things I really had to focus more on.
Mm-hmm.
So I just decided to incorporate some of the practices within what I do and
Mm-hmm.
include it like that.
Mm-hmm.
No, would you say that you feel in some way, even if it's by some part of yourself, that you're being guided with this?
Oh, definitely. I've been feeling guidance for the last 4 years. Um, I was going through a period of in my life where things weren't going so good about 4 years ago, and um, I got an intuition to look up angel number 44 for some reason. I had no idea what angel numbers were at the time, and so I got my phone out and I looked up angel number 44, and I started reading through the different interpretations they had, and I found one that actually resonated with what I was going through at the time. And after that, I started using the angel numbers as a form of communication with my guides.
And that's interesting. So in like how are you using it to communicate with them?
Well, I have a random number generator app that I use. And if I'm trying to contemplate on something and I need an answer to something, or um, I got a problem or an issue or something, um, I just kind of put it out there, and I just kind of, and I don't even say it out loud anymore because I know
Mm-hmm.
that my spirits guides can read my mind. I don't have to say a thing. I just put it out there, and I'll look up the number, and I'll look up the interpretations on there and read through them, and I usually get my answer.
That's pretty
Um,
cool.
there was one time when Kim and I were having an argument, and I don't know. Sometimes I give into her too much. It's one of those things. It's just kind of just like giving to her just to appease her and stuff. But I held my ground on whatever we were arguing about. I was like, and I was muttering to myself, I'm not giving into this. I'm tired of this BS. And all of a sudden, my phone, the sound you get from your instant message, the ding,
Mm-hmm.
my phone dinged 10 times in a row. And I tried to duplicate that, hitting the thumbs up sign. I couldn't do it. I don't know how it did it. It went ding, 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 ding. And it was like a confirmation. I was like, and I kind of said to the phone, well, if you can do that, how come you can't just send me a text message rather than going around this roundabout way trying to send me a message? I'm supposed to read through all the stuff or interpret this number or figure this out or figure that out. If you can do that, why can't you just send me a text?
Yeah.
It's just so much easier. Cut through the crap.
Yeah. Let's streamline this a little bit, please.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, the breadcrumbing kind of gets old after a while. I mean, I
Uh-huh.
get some days where I get really frustrated, and I'll just say, I'm not doing this no more. I'm done. And
Uh-huh.
I've literally packed up all my stuff and put it in a box and just walked away for a couple days, and
Mm-hmm.
just but I always go back to it because it's like, I can't quit. I'm not a quitter. Um, and this has just been driving me. They keep saying, "Don't quit. You're almost there. You're almost there." You get that little nudge, and those messages, and just kind of, and a lot of my cards too. When I draw my cards, um, I get a lot of messages to the cards when especially I had a question about Derek's Eagle proposal a few weeks ago, and I've got one card in my Shaman's Dream Oracle deck, and this I never saw this card before because I've only just started using the deck. So I shuffled the cards, and the card that came up, it was Eyes of the Eagle. Now, if that wasn't confirmation about the asking about his Eagle project, I don't know what is, because Eyes of the
Mm-hmm.
Eagle in the bottom it said rise above the fray, and the fray that I interpret that as being, there were some leaders in Boy Scouts because of Derek's disability that didn't believe that he should be an Eagle Scout, and we're actually trying
Oh.
to hold him back. And
Mm.
I had a couple that were really discouraging us from even trying to go before the Eagle board, because supposedly the, the Eagle Scout candidate has to go before the board by himself. Derek's nonverbal autistic. I went there and we what we did was we made a poster and said what his project was and included pictures, and he held the poster up and I kind of talked for him, and they were fine with that. So the
Awesome.
card was 100% right, and in fact, I could find the card here for you. I got the deck right here. I'll try to shuffle through here real quick if I can find it. But it was just amazing when I saw it, and even the angel numbers that were on there, because I read angel numbers when I read cards. I take those into consideration in the reading, and even those lined up with I think it was one was the first number was one and the second number was eight. One's a number of victory and success. Eight's a number of success and abundance. And so I knew after that card came up that we were good to go.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
just
Give you a
for
little.
the
awesome.
benefit of people who might be listening to this and don't know what angel numbers are, could you one of you guys give maybe a brief definition of what does angel numbers mean?
Okay. Angels communicate to us through numbers, and I discovered this, like I said, through my guides telling me to look for a certain angel number. And the angel numbers have different interpretations for the number. It's really, if you look online, you'll find different interpretations for different numbers, and you'll find the same meanings for different numbers. Um, but I have a list of the main numbers and the main interpretations, and that's what I use in my readings.
Mm-hmm.
They do tie
Wow.
in. Um, they are pretty accurate. Now it's gonna be the last card here in the deck. Here it is. Eyes of the Eagle.
Oh yeah,
Oh
that's
yeah, for sure.
awesome.
That's cool.
That card came up, and I was like, okay, that was all I needed to hear.
Yep.
And we went there, and everything went smooth and stuff. And now we're actually doing the project this Saturday, which is I've been in a frantic mode in the last 3 weeks, trying to get everything lined up, the materials, trying to make sure we get people there. There's a lot to it really, and helping him out, with this. He's got to show leadership in it, so he's going to be passing out 3x5 cards with directions on, for what we need to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And
What is the project?
we're rebuilding two bridges at Rice Creek, and they have to
Nice.
be rebuilt to be compatible for handicap accessible, because they're going to turn the
Awesome.
twin trail into a handicap accessible trail. So the specifications are really, really, really rigid. We have to build a ramp up to these bridges, a short ramp. But just designing that, I mean, I'm not an engineer, I have no idea really what I'm doing. And it took some experimentation with some scrap wood and stuff to finally figure out what's going to work. And removing all the deck boards and replacing all the deck boards, and then putting side rails on for wheelchairs so they won't go off the sides. And we're doing two of those bridges. So
Wow.
Oh
that's another
wow.
project. It's gotten to be more than what we thought it was, I think, at first.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at first, we were only talking about replacing a couple of the bad boards, and then they asked for a quote for all the boards to be replaced, and they decided they want to replace them all. So, and it's going to rain on Saturday too, so
Of course.
we're going to get it done no matter what. We got the leaders plus me. We got four determined adults that are going to work through the rain no matter what, unless it's an absolute downpour. And I've got everything lined up ahead of time, so it should go smooth.
That's awesome.
Get off
For
track there.
sure.
Yeah, no, that's a super beneficial project that's gonna like add so much,
Mhm.
to the community. So I love that you guys are doing that.
Yeah, that's great.
And that spirit gave you that confirmation of like, yes, this is exactly what you need to do. I love it.
Well, it's amazing how these cards work. I had a dream. It's probably a couple of years ago. That's how I developed my Bear Spirit Oracle deck. I had in this dream, I saw there was four people in the dream, and this one man had a deck of cards that he'd made. It was all his artwork, and he was showing me all this, and I was just amazed because they were just so colorful. And so when I woke out of that dream, I just had an inkling, and I had just started to give angel card readings, different things, and one of the groups on Facebook, one of the spiritual groups on there. And then I had this dream about that. So then I got the intuition to make my own oracle card deck, and I use that in readings and stuff, and that turns out to be pretty accurate too.
I don't think I realized that was your actual deck, because I mean I've seen you do readings like on Facebook and Instagram. That's very cool.
Yeah. I
I'd love to.
went. I've only got one deck. Um,
Uh-huh.
in order to manufacture these, they're very expensive.
Gotcha.
Unless you want to send to like China, I guess. And then you got to wait. But I don't have any interest in selling them right now. But I've got a 44 card deck. This is the back of the deck,
Oh, nice.
Beautiful.
Very cool.
and my own design. And then the pictures I got, they're all public domain pictures,
Hmm.
so I don't violate any copyright. So if I did want to manufacture them, I could.
Hmm.
Nice.
And I just made up my own interpretations. So I
Yeah.
made a little booklet that could be made with it. But I don't go off the interpretations. I go off of my intuition when I read the cards.
Yeah.
I look at the card and I see if the card's telling me something first, and then what I'll hear from spirit about it, and I just kind of combine that.
That's super interesting. I mean, I feel like when people start, you kind of, I mean, you made this deck, so like you know what the cards mean, but like when you're first starting out, like you're using the guidebooks to kind of get you started, and then it's like the more you do it, the more you're able to open up to that intuition and just really kind of like read the energy rather than like, what is this specific card supposed to mean?
And I really look at the illustrations too, especially like this
Hmm.
Shaman Theme Oracle deck. Um, there's a lot in the artwork,
Hmm.
and I'll look for things in there as I'm interpreting. And then I like the numbered cards too.
Hmm.
I always look for numbers on my cards. Um, that's its a personal thing, that I enjoy as far as reading off the cards.
I mean, it seems like that's a lot of it has been very significant for you, like the numbers and stuff like that. Like everything has a meaning. There's a symbol in there, and so, that's just kind of how spirit communicates to you, is not just through, images, but through numbers too, which is very cool.
I mean, sometimes I get some stuff through meditation. I'll get ideas and stuff.
Hmm.
And when I used to write songs, when I first started writing songs, I did a lot of channeling, and a lot of that would just come to me like complete songs, and I couldn't write it down fast enough. That's kind of disappeared for a while. I don't know. I've gotten back into my music, but the flow of that now is just kind of I can come up with music faster than I come up with lyrics.
Hmm.
Which used to be the other way around. The lyrics used to just flow, but
Mm.
that's all part of it too. It's all part of the psychic thing. Is Bob Dylan used to say, "I don't write the songs; I just write them down." Because
Yes.
it's just out there in the collective consciousness. And it's like and if you ever heard of people inventing the same thing at the same time in
Oh,
different
yeah.
parts of the world,
Happens
it's
all the
just
time.
yeah, it's just that the ideas are out there, and it's just that I don't know the wavelengths, how things work, how the energy works, but some people come up with that same idea at the same exact time, and
Hmm.
maybe a little different version each time of it,
Hmm.
but the same thing, is there a lot, and I really think that's a universal thing.
Yeah. Liz Gilbert talks about that in her book Big Magic, how like creative inspiration is really coming from spirit, source, whatever. And how like if you are kind of like given an idea, like an inspiration, but you choose not to take it anywhere, it will go to somebody else, because she had that experience where she had a very specific idea for a book and she didn't do anything with it, and like 2 years later somebody came out with that book that was just like too specific for like it to be coincidence.
There are no coincidences.
I agree.
Everything happens for a reason in this universe.
Yeah. When you were writing music back then, did you recognize that you were channeling? Or what did you think it was?
Yeah, I knew it was channeling. In fact, that right about that time was when I started going to see a psychic.
Okay.
Um, it was coincidentally the same time I picked up music was 2004. Um, because I was playing hockey at that time and I used to ride bike in the summers and stuff. 2,000 miles a year on the bike and stuff. And then I got injured and I couldn't do that anymore. I had to find something in the winter. You know how the winters are up here. I had
Hmm.
to find something to do in the winter, and picked up a guitar and learned how to play guitar because I wanted to write music. And I had the inspiration when I was a kid, but I never did nothing with it. And it was just one of those late things that it was just time. And at first, it was just like was flowing to me so fast. The words and stuff would. And I picked it up and set it down a lot over the years and stuff. But I just got back in July, and there's a songwriting group that meets once a month. It's a block away from me, and I've really made a lot of good friends, like-minded people, positive people that want to advance themselves. And it's been a good thing.
Awesome. I love that. Erin and I were just talking. Erin, for listeners who don't know, that's my sister. But Erin and I were talking last night how she had channeled like a poem, and I've done that before. And I remember one time in meditation, like a song download, and I'm not a musical person at all, but it was just like this very clear song, and I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. Like, and there, I wasn't in a place where I could like write it down or anything like that, but it was this very beautiful, like healing song. And for whatever reason, I needed to channel that day. But I think that's so cool that that's how it's worked for you in terms of just like
Yeah, I
opening up
just think
that.
things are just out there, and
Yeah.
think of an idea, or I think the idea might be planted in your head from your guides or from the universe,
Hmm.
and then all of a sudden you just start getting this idea about writing a song, and you come up with a line or two, and then maybe a couple chords, and then all of a sudden you're off to the races with it. It's kind of fun, really. It's kind of challenging.
Hmm.
Um, and once I get going with something as far as the flow of the rhymes and stuff, I usually don't have a problem with it. Because lately it's just been getting the initial idea. I read a lot of stuff about spirituality too, a lot of things about love,
Hmm.
peace. I'm a,
Yeah.
I'm an old time hippie. I mean, I grew up in that era. I missed Woodstock. I was too young, but the ideas have always stuck with me. The peace and love, and all the good thoughts of that era, all the positive energy of that era.
Yeah.
That they want to change. And that's kind of like the way the world is now. A lot of people want change, but
Yeah.
a lot of people go about it the wrong way.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why we have to be the change we want to see, and just radiate that out into the world.
Yes.
Yeah. So since you started just like opening yourself up to spirit, to your psychic abilities, how have things changed for you?
Well, positive, a lot more positive energy, a lot less worrying, realizing that no matter how much you worry about something, you can't change it anyway. And it's I still got a little bit of control issue. I haven't fully let go.
Yeah.
I guess sometimes the ego just wants to still get in there sometimes, but realizing that if you go with the flow of the universe and stay positive about things, um, that good things will happen to you.
Hmm.
Um, being kind to others, spreading love, spreading good information, good positive things. I'd like to spread messages through my songs, um,
Yeah.
uplift people, just along those lines. Just trying to be a better person. Continuously trying to improve yourself.
All good things, all
Yeah,
things we need more of in this world for sure.
you do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
experiences stuff. Like I said, just they sound kind of crazy, and I'm at the point now in my life where I was hesitant. I came out with this last January, the videos, put them
Uh-huh.
on YouTube. I was really hesitant on even putting those out there because just the backlash. But one of my videos on YouTube has I think it was 121,000 hits last I saw.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
it
That's cool.
the Blizzard of Orbs took off for a while, but that kind of settled at 8,000. But this other
Hmm.
one that I posted, that was actually November 22 that I recorded it. It was right after my dog passed, and I set the camera back up, and the audio quality is downhill because the camera is no longer supported. but you can still see the orbs in the videos and stuff. And a lot of the video hits that I got were from different countries too.
It's neat.
That is cool. Yeah, you don't sound crazy at all. Today, I will just
Yeah.
tell everybody, we have a very hungry spirit in this house apparently because the snack cupboard just keeps being opened after I go and shut it, and then it opens and then I shut it. And so I'm like, are you hungry today? Like, you've got my attention. I don't know what's going on here, but you
I don't
don't
have
sound
that.
crazy. No.
I don't know if things like that happen. Like, like I've had things disappear on me though in the
Oh
house
yeah.
that
Yeah.
I know I've had it. And there was one time not that long ago, a friend of mine gave me a used hot tub, and it needed some work on it. Of course, I'm mechanical, so I was able to fix it, and I was going to put it down in my basement. Probably not a good idea because of the moisture, in hindsight. But I was all set. I really wanted this hot tub down there, just for
Mm-hmm.
relaxation. And the older you get, the more sore you get and everything. So I had this one part that I couldn't find when I was going back to put the pump back together. This part, I swear it was right there. I know it was there. It disappeared off the table. I never found it. I still can't find it. And then I gave up on the idea and decided just just to scrap the whole idea, just not think about it. And I think that was the message I was getting was, no, you don't want this in your basement.
Yeah. Oh, so they were like, we have to take this from you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've had a couple
Uh,
things like that they've
yeah.
stopped me from doing, just
Yeah.
by something disappears like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Yeah.
very meticulous as far as when I put something down, or I don't lose stuff a lot, and
Yeah.
then when I do, I just lose my mind because it's like I know it was there,
Yeah.
but what are you gonna do? They
Yep.
got their way.
Absolutely. We experienced that a lot at my parents' house. My mom and dad still sometimes experience that where things just go missing and you can't find it, or they turn up in the most bizarre places, like, where you would never put that item. So yeah, they like to take things, that's for sure.
Play games.
Yeah, they absolutely do.
Well,
All
we
right.
really appreciate you talking with us and sharing your stories and experiences.
Jonathan,
Yeah, this has
my
been
pleasure.
great.
Good luck with you guys with your show.
Thank you.
Well, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Appreciate that so much. Yeah, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you, Mark. I'm glad we got to talk today.
See you
All
later.
right. Take care.
Bye
Take
now.
care. Bye. Thank you so much for being here. If you have a strange story you want to share with us, email us at seekerandskeptic@gmail.com. We look forward to talking to you soon.